Hey everyone, welcome to Choice Online Academy. My name is Prerna Singh, and today we're going to talk about what is chemistry and why should we learn chemistry. So, basically, chemistry is the study of matter and how it changes. Simple, yeah. Broadly, whatever happened around us, chemistry has the answer. So, have you ever given a thought about why the sky is blue and why the ice melts while making cold coffee? Delicious. And why we cry while cutting onions? So, chemistry has all the answers, and from the basics of the atom and the molecular level to the basics of the matter and alloys and disease and its cure in biology and in physics, like in everything, chemistry is involved, and chemistry is the basis of science. So, this is a lectures of the series follow up. Here we have the starting from the class 9 chapter 1, and please don't go with this word class 9. If you are in undergraduate program, graduate program, or in high school, if you miss any of the important tips stuff, so this is the lecture series suitable and best for you. Here, it's just starting with the general, with the basic knowledge of chemistry, with the follow up of the chapters of class 9, 10, and so on. So, please watch this series of lectures and it would be helpful, I promise. So, here's the chapter 1, Matter in our surroundings. As we look at our surroundings, we see a large varieties of things with different shapes, sizes, and texture. Everything in this universe is made up of material which scientists have named matter. Basically, the air we breathe, the food we eat, stones, even a single drop of water and a piece of sand, everything is made up of matter. So, precisely, matter is something which occupies space and have mass. Yeah, we are also matter, and matter is studying matter basically. So, there is the simplest classification of matter. First, on the behalf of physical properties, and second, chemical nature. So, we'll study about the physical nature of matter. Chemical nature, that aspect we will study in subsequent chapters. Okay, so matter is made up of particles. For a long time ago, scientists were always in a confusion state whether matter is a continuous substance like a block of wood or a particulate substance like a piece of sand. So, although we are not in the confusion state, we will perform an activity. Take 100 ml of beaker, fill half the beaker with water and mark the level of water. Dissolve some sugar or salt, your choice, with a stirrer or a glass rod and observe if the level of water rises or is there any change in the level of water. So the answer is there is no change in the level of water. But why then? Where does this sugar or salt disappeared? So here is the answer. When we dissolve salt and sugar, the particles of salt get into the spaces between the particles of water. So from this we will get this idea that matter is particulate. Previously we studied about the particulate nature of matter. Now how small are these particles? So here is one activity about that. Drop 2 to 3 crystals of potassium permanganate in 100 ml of clean water. Then you will see the color changes, and then transfer 10 ml of that water into the 90 ml of clean water, and again transfer from that 100 ml of water to 90 ml of clean water, 5 to 8 times of dilution. With every dilution, though the color becomes light, it is still visible. So we conclude that there must be millions of tiny particles in just one crystal of potassium permanganate, which keeps on dividing themselves into smaller and smaller particles. And believe me, particles of matter are very small. They are small beyond our imagination. So now the next heading is characteristics of particles of matter. Particles of matter have space between them. As we did the activity before, the salt and water just got into the spaces of the particles of water, and this they how they mix. So they have enough space. Particles of matter have enough space between them. The next heading is particles of matter are continuously moving. Okay, so आज घर में पनीर बना है. Like we got that order way before our mama told us. Like आज पनीर बना है. So how did we got that order? Basically, the particles of matter are continuously moving. Okay, and on the other hand, this is the process, this is the scientific process. Yeah, we are dealing with chemistry. So in this we understand that the particles of matter intermix on their own with each other. The order of paneer and the air intermix with each other. They do so by getting into the space in between the particles. This intermixing of particles of two different types of matter on their own is called diffusion. Basically, here also again, mixing is because of the particles just get into the spaces of another particle of matter. Now again is another thing, you will not get the smell or the odor of the cold food as you just go near to that, but you will instantly get the odor of hot food way far from that place or kitchen. As we know, particles of matter are continuously moving, and as they possess what we call kinetic energy. Okay, as the temperature rises, particles move faster. So we can say that with increase in temperature, the kinetic energy of the particles also increases. Particles of matter, whether attract each other or not, we'll see that. Take an iron nail, a piece of chalk, and a rubber band. Try breaking them by any means, like by hammering, cutting, or stretching. You will see that maybe it will be very easy to cut, hammer certain substance or stretch, but there is some force present in between them. The particles of matter have force acting between them. This force keeps the particles together. The strength of these particles of attraction varies from one kind of matter to another, like from maybe it is very difficult to hammer, cut, or stretch iron nail in comparison to a piece of chalk or a rubber band. So this kind strength of force of attraction varies. So the next heading is the states of matter. As we observe different types of matter around us, what are its different states? We can say that matter around us exists in three different states: solid, liquid, and gas. And these matter arises due to the variation in the characteristics of particles of matter as we studied above. So, the solid state we'll study in detail now. Observe any pen, a book, needle, and a piece of wood and stick, anything, and just sketch the shape of the above particles. What you observe? They have a definite shape? Yes. Distinct boundaries? Yes. And a fixed volume? Yes. So, are we able to compress it? No, because they have a negligible compressibility. They will might break under force, but they will not change their shape as they are rigid. But observing other things, what about a rubber band? Can it change its shape on stretching? Yes. So is it a solid? What about sugar and salt? When kept in different jars, these take shape of the jar. Are they solid? What about a sponge? Is it a solid? Yet we are able to compress it. Why? So, I will answer. A rubber band changes shape under force and regain the same shape when the force applied is removed, and they might break as the force increases. The shape of each individual sugar or salt crystal remains fixed, whether we take it in a hand, put in a plate, or in a jar. And the third is a sponge has minute holes in which air is trapped. When we press it, the air is expelled out and we are able to compress it. So these Under the solids themselves, there is a variation of the state, there is a variation of the matter, and yet we see some exceptions and the definition of solid. So the next heading is liquid state. So what is a liquid state? You can observe the different liquids and also the present in front of your screen. As you will split these different kinds of liquid or pour into different shape of beaker, jar or anything, you will see that they don't have a fixed shape but have a fixed volume. This is the definition of a liquid state. They just take up the shape of the container in which they are kept. Liquids flow and shape changes, so they are not rigid. So, from the previous activities, we observed that this is the context of diffusion we are talking about, okay? Solids and liquids can diffuse into liquids. We saw that. Salt and sugar just mix into water, and liquids into liquids, ink in water, and honey in water. You just saw that. What about gases? We have this example from nature, the water bodies, how they are able to breathe because they oxygen that is mixed in the water or diffused in the water help them to breathe, or that is the reason for their survival. As we will compare that with the diffusion rate of liquid with that of solid, you will see that diffusion rate of liquid is higher than that of solid. This is due to the fact that liquid state particles move freely and have greater space between each other as compared to particles in solid state. So here we got two different but we can say that two different differences between the solid and liquid. Solid liquid have more space between them so they can move freely. Solid are more like a compact state, so the particles are not have greater space so they cannot move freely. So liquid state has higher rate of diffusion as compared to solid state. This is a thing we got from this. So the next form of state is the gaseous state, the third and the last one. Have you ever observed the liquefied petroleum gas, often called LPG cylinders, and the CNG cylinders? Have you ever noticed like this large volume of gas is just compressed into small cylinders and transported easily? Just we infer from this fact that gases are highly compressible as compared to solid as well as liquid. They are highly compressible because of the fact that they have a large space between the particles so they can move freely as compared to solid and liquid, and this aids to the fact that they have a very high rate of diffusion as compared to solid and liquid. Basically, if we see around if we see around the fact that the particles move randomly at very high speed in the gaseous state. Due to this random movement, the particles hit each other and also the walls of the container. And this is the only fact with the gaseous state. The pressure exerted by the gas is because of this force exerted by gas particles per unit area on the walls of the container. This is the definition of pressure. As we have studied before solids, liquids and gases state in detailed explanation, so now in front of you there is a comparison chart between these three. Solids, first point is solids have very strong intermolecular force. As a result, they have very less intermolecular space. Liquids on the other hand have as compared to solids have weak intermolecular force yet large intermolecular space. Gases have very weak intermolecular force and very large intermolecular space. So solids, पता है क्या होता है कि molecules ना अब बहुत ज़्यादा फोर्स ऑफ अट्रैक्शन लगाते हैं इन सॉलिड्स. दे हैव वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग इंटरमोलिकुलर फोर्स. उसकी वजह से उनके बीच का स्पेस कम हो जाता है. लिक्विड्स में वही फोर्स थोड़ा वीक होता है. इसलिए उनका स्पेस, इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर स्पेस ज़्यादा होता है एज़ कम्पेयर टू सॉलिड्स। गैसेस में ये मॉलिक्यूलर फोर्स बहुत बहुत वीक हो जाता है एंड इसी वजह से इनका इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर स्पेस बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है. So this is the thing. Second is solids have definite shape and volume. We studied before. Liquids don't have a definite shape but yet have definite volume. Yes. Gases, they don't have a definite shape and neither a definite volume. So as same as liquid case, gases just acquire the shape of the container or utensil they are kept in, and they don't have a definite volume. Just take a jar, small jar, and some gas is trapped in, and transfer this amount of gas into a bigger cylinder. What you will observe that volume of gas changed. But why? Because of the fact that molecules of gases pressurize the walls of the container they are kept in. Because of the very large intermolecular space and very very weak intermolecular force, they just pressurize the walls of the container, and you just can imagine they just acquire the volume of the container they are kept in. Thus they don't have a definite volume. So the next point is solids have a very high density as compared to liquids and gases. Okay, so density is calculated as mass per unit volume, as you all know. But how we describe density, how you can describe someone, what is density? So density is how compact or concentrated something is. Density tells how concentrated or crowded something is. So okay, it's a bit complicated. So here's one example. You will take two boxes, one large and one small. By the way, they both same weight, the same, they have the same weight. Okay, so this means the small box has higher density as compared to large box, because the crowding in the large box is less than the crowding in the small box, but they have same weight. So as simple as that, solids have very high density because the crowding is more. इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर फोर्स ज़्यादा होता है ना, तो क्या होता है, क्राउडिंग ज़्यादा होती है तो फिर डेंसिटी ज़्यादा होती है. लिक्विड्स में वही इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर फोर्स कम हो जाता है एंड क्राउडिंग थोड़ी कम हो जाती है, इसलिए डेंसिटी थोड़ी और कम हो जाती है. गैसेस में तो यू कैन इमेजिन कोई इंटरमॉलिक्यूलर स्पेस इतना होता है, गैसेस की डेंसिटी बहुत बहुत लो होती है. The next thing is solids cannot be compressed. Yes, we have seen this, except sponge and all the other reasons. Okay, they have this different thing. Solids cannot flow. Yes, we know, because they don't have that intermolecular space so they can move freely. But liquids can flow and liquids can be compressed. Gases, on the other hand, are highly compressible and gases can flow. Okay, solids have very, like as comparison to liquids and gas, they have very less or low rate of diffusion. Liquids as comparison have higher rate of diffusion as compared to solids, and gases have very very high rate of diffusion. Okay, so this was the compact or brief, just you can say the differences in between the solids, liquids and gases. As we have read the detailed explanation of the various states of matter, so as you have observed that the matter changes its state. Solid change to liquid, liquid change to gases, or solid directly change to gases. So why this processes takes place? Because when the distance between molecules changes due to any reasons like variation in pressure or temperature, the state of matter changes. As a result, when molecules get energy and by any means or in variation in temperature or pressure, their mobility increases. So, if we have to change from solid to gas or liquid and then gas, if we just increase the space between them or the distance between the particles or the molecules, their mobility will increase. Okay, and they will change the state. As simple as that. As you all know, in gaseous state, mobility is higher, whereas in solid, it is the lowest. So we have started by the matter changes state. Now, how temperatures aids in changing the state of matter. While taking an example of solids, on increasing the temperature of solids, the kinetic energy of the particles increases. Due to this increase in kinetic energy, the particles start vibrating with greater speed. Okay, the energy supplied due to this heat overcomes the force of attraction between the particles. So, the main thing is via the mean of temperature or pressure, this force of attraction needs to be overcome. As in case of solids, the particles leave their fixed positions and start moving more freely. So this is the stage when solid melts and converted to liquid. As we know, liquids particles move more freely as compared to solid. So the state change, there is one technical term, the minimum temperature at which a solid melts to become a liquid at the atmospheric pressure is called its melting point. And you have seen the word using latent heat, or what is that? Even I was confused when I was studying and all this stuff. Latent heat, just take an example of melting ice. Okay, so ice at -4 degrees Celsius, if you will just give heat by increasing, give the heat, temperature will increase -3, -2, -1, and then 0. At 0 degrees Celsius, ice start melting. Okay, but this time the temperature remains constant. So where is heat gone? This heat is gone in the overcoming the forces of attraction, so that the particles will start moving more freely and will convert to the liquid state. Thus, this temperature which is absorbed is termed as latent heat. Latent means hidden. Where this heat gone, no one knows, because the temperature remains constant. This heat is used up in the overcoming the forces of attraction between the particles. That's how ice melts at 0 degrees Celsius. There are some substances that change directly from solid state to gaseous state and vice versa without changing into the liquid state. For example, sublimation of ammonium chloride. A change of state directly from solid to gas without changing into liquid state is called sublimation. And the direct change of gas to solid without changing into liquid is called deposition. So, ammonium chloride is one of the examples of sublimation. So, the next heading is effect of change of pressure. As we already know, temperature brings about a change in the state of matter. What if we vary pressure and the distance between the constituent particles changes? So, as a result, state will also change. For example, in a piston and cylinder mechanism, try to compress a gas. Applying pressure and reducing temperature can actually liquefy gases. One another and good example is solid carbon dioxide. It is stored under high pressure because solid CO2 gets converted directly to gaseous state on decrease of pressure to 1 atmosphere without coming into liquid state. This is the reason why it is called dry ice. So we understood that by varying temperature and pressure we can actually bring a change in the state of matter, whether it will be solid, liquid, or. So previously we saw that by varying temperature and pressure we can actually change the state of matter. So can you quote some examples from everyday life where the change of state happens? For example, while heating liquid, some part of the fractional part of the liquid changes to vapor state before reaching the boiling point, and wet clothes dry up. We have all seen that happening. So what happens to water in the above two examples? So as an explanation, we know that particles of matter are always moving and are never at rest. Okay? At a given temperature in any gas, liquid or solid, there are particles with different amounts of kinetic energy. So, in case of liquids, a small fraction of particles at the surface, while heating the liquid, a small fraction of the particle of surface having higher kinetic energy is able to break away from the forces of attraction of other particles and gets converted into vapor. So, and this phenomenon of change of a liquid into vapors at any temperature below its boiling point, mark my words, below its boiling point, is called evaporation. As we had a detailed explanation what is evaporation, there are some factors affecting evaporation. First is an increase in surface area. As we all know, evaporation is a surface phenomena, and an increase in the surface area will definitely increase the rate of the evaporation. For example, while drying the clothes, we spread them out. As the surface area increases, the clothes will dry faster. An increase of temperature. With the increase of temperature, more number of particles get enough kinetic energy to go into the vapor state. Third is a decrease in humidity. As humidity is the amount of water vapor present in air, the air around us cannot hold more than a definite amount of water vapor at a given temperature. So, if the air around us will have already high water vapors present, then the rate of evaporation decreases. Fourth is an increase in wind speed. It is a common observation that clothes dry faster on a windy day. With the increase in wind speed, the particles of water vapor move away from the wind, decreasing the amount of water vapor in the surrounding. As this is a common and we see in our day-to-day life. Evaporation causes cooling effect. So what's that? So from an example, why we wear cotton clothes in summer? Have you ever wondered why? So during summer, we perspire more because of the mechanism of our body which keeps us cool. So we know that during evaporation, the particles at the surface of the liquid gain energy from the surroundings or body surface and change into vapor. The heat energy equal to the latent heat of vaporization is absorbed from the body, leaving the body cool. So, cotton being a good absorber of water helps in absorbing the sweat and exposing the atmosphere for cooling effect. So there are another examples, while you put nail polish remover in your palm, you just feel some cooling effect. Or in a hot sunny day, people sprinkle water on the roof or open ground because the large latent heat of the vaporization of water helps to cool the hot surface, and many more examples are there. So by this we are at the end of this chapter of class 9 chapter 1, and we studied what is matter and what are the physical properties, what are states of matter, and why the state of matter changes, and evaporation, sublimation. These are all the stuff we read. So hope you guys have some valuable information from this lecture, and I'll be coming with the chapter 2 of class 9 very soon. Don't forget to subscribe the channel and please like and share this video. Thank you everyone.